ضلالة في النار. Alhamdulillah, all praises indeed belong to Allah. And praise is in four different categories. The praise with which Allah may praise his servant, the praise with which the servant praises his creator, even the praise that we praise each other, and of course the praise with which Allah praises himself. They all in reality belong to him. And we praise and thank him as he is the one who is urging us on through worshiping and serving him to his paradise. And he's done that out of nothing, or rather no merit of our own, but only from the virtue and grace from him. And he is doing this by the chain of action and reward. And the actions that he is obligated upon us, he only did it so that we would be obedient towards him, and out of that obedience that we would obtain the ultimate reward here and in the hereafter from him, that being his paradise, proximity to him, and peace and safety from the punishment of the hellfire. We all praise Allah and are thankful to him for the inestimable blessing of being counted among the community of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as we mentioned before, this boon or this gift is coming from him only out of the excellence of his grace and mercy. And we bear witness as members of the community of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that there's nothing worthy of our worship, of our devotion, of our constant thinking or ruminating on besides Allah. And he's single and solitary in this respect. He's alone in this respect. He has no partner in this at all. And we also bear witness for sure, without any doubt, that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah. And this bear witness is only for our own souls, because whether we bear witness or not, it doesn't alter the truth. And we always send salutations and peace, or rather we ask Allah to do that on our behalf, on our master and our guide, Muhammad, and on his family, and on his companions, those from his time. That's what follows. The address is for those who believe. We should have taqwa concerning Allah. Taqwa is everything for the believer. And then whatever we mention taqwa, the most comprehensive and simple way we can define it is to strive to do whatever you can of what Allah has commanded you to, and to leave off everything that he has forbidden you. And you should do that in the way that befits Allah. And what do we mean when we say the way that befits Allah? You do it with an observance in your heart of the fact that you worshiping a being that is hearing and seeing everything. So when you strive to keep this level of awareness concerning taqwa foremost in your mind and on the threshold of your heart, then for sure, wherever you find yourself, you'll be doing whatever calls the situation for that Allah has commanded, and whatever the situation calls for Allah to leave it alone. What he's commanded to you, leave it alone. You'll find it easy knowing that Allah is seeing you all the time and that he's hearing you all the time. That if you went and hid yourself in a dark corner of your room in the middle of the night to plan something, Allah, he know what you're planning before you conceive the thought in your mind, before you even to go to act on it. And that's Allah. And we know our relationship to him. We the servant, he's the creator. And we should know that the best report ever that has been transmitted and received by any creation is the book of Allah that was given to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the best of guidance, not all these self-help programs and books, but the best guidance of all time and any time that's relevant from the time it touches down until the time this world will leave is the guidance of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the worst of things are the things that we maybe not knowing or purposely incorporate into our lives, into Islam, that have no precedence in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's what we call bid'ah. And surely every innovation without any precedence is a misleading to a believer. It's going to end up misleading them from the path, without a doubt. And anyone who is misled off the path, then their steps would invariably lead them to hellfire. May Allah protect us from that. Allah, when creating the creation, he already decided prior to our coming to this life that these people to paradise, together with whatever they may do of actions, and certain people to hellfire, together with whatever they may do as well. And when the Prophet ﷺ made the statement to the companions, our master Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be well pleased with him, the second Khalifa of the Prophet ﷺ, he asked him, if that's the case, then why would we bother ourselves worshiping, struggling, striving to do good deeds? Why would we bother? And the Prophet ﷺ said, "I'malu, fakullu muyassarun lima khuliqa lahu." He said, do the action, act. For surely, for every individual, it will be made easy the thing that they were created for. In other words, if Allah in his infinite knowledge has created a person for paradise, then he's going to make it easy for you to do the work of the people of paradise. By and by, you see it being easier and easier. And in the same token, if he created the person for hellfire, you'll see that person by and by. It will become easier and easier for them to commit bad deeds. Stealing is nothing. Taking a person's life with no reason is nothing to them. Until when the time comes for Allah to take them back, they would, by their actions, have deserved nothing but hellfire. And may Allah protect us from that. That's why we say, Alhamdulillah. All praise, all of it, it belongs to Allah, because he's the one who made us Muslims and then put us in the community of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, either in this spiritual desolation, this place of spiritual desert, wasteland. He came, he would come and pluck a person out the middle of a prison and put them in the community of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why we say Alhamdulillah. And again, it's not out of our effort. It's not out of our lineage. It's not out of anything we've done special. It's just the generosity from Allah and the virtue from him. He is the one who created us. He created the actions, and he created the reward for the actions. All of that is from him. And elsewhere, that's why the Prophet ﷺ is quoted as saying, if you see in your heart that you've decided to go to paradise, you should thank Allah and be grateful to him in order to get to that place. Because for sure, none of us deserve, just by our actions, to get to paradise. And when he made that statement, the companions, of course, they asked him, even you? And he said, even me, except for Allah, he covered me with his mercy. So then we are offering the blessings, peace, and salutation upon the Prophet ﷺ and his companions and the family. And whenever we say the family of the Prophet ﷺ, all of those who reach the status of a believer, they're included in his family, besides his family by blood. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ana jaddu kullu taqiyyan. I am the grandfather of every person who has taqwa. So again, may Allah send peace, salutation, and blessings on the Prophet, on his companions, and on his family from his time into the day of judgment. After having praised Allah and offered prayer and salutation on the Prophet ﷺ, the advice again is to have taqwa. To do what Allah said do and to stop wherever he said stop. And it's better that we busy ourselves with reconciling with Allah than we waste our time running around, ingratiating ourselves to the creation. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, "La ta'ata li makhluqin fi ma'asiyatil khaliq." There's no obedience due to any creation if it involves disobeying the Creator himself. So we should try our best to inculcate this taqwa in our daily lives. And we said it is doing what Allah says do and to stop what Allah says stop. But even at a more fine point, we say it's following the footsteps of the Prophet step by step. And the Prophet ﷺ said as a guarantee, كُلُّ النَّاسِ يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَبَى. He said every human being, or all of humankind, would enter paradise except for the one who refuses. And the companions, they were always inquisitive to our benefit. They said, وَمَنْ أَبَى يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ, and who will refuse to go to paradise? The Prophet ﷺ said, مَنْ أَعْطَانِي دَخَلَ الْجَنَّةِ وَمَنْ عَصَانِي فَقَدْ أَبَى. He said, whoever obeys me has entered paradise. And you know, the Prophet ﷺ, he is a scientist with speech. He said in the past tense, whoever obey me, they've already entered paradise. وَمَنْ عَصَانِي فَقَدْ أَبَى. And whoever disobey me, they're the ones that refused. They refused to enter. And following the Prophet ﷺ step by step, it's been made easy for us. The knowledgeable people from his time until now, they've dedicated their whole life to passing on the knowledge, making it easy for the layperson, that being us, to understand and to follow. Even to the point where they translated it into just about every language that we can find people speaking on this earth. So there's nothing left for us except to learn it and to follow it and to put it into practice. In the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, it is not just what we read. The Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is whatever the Prophet ﷺ did, or what he commanded, or what was done in front of him, and he allowed it. Because the Prophet ﷺ, despite his extreme shyness and his subtlety, he was never shy with the truth. If something was done in front of him, then he would check it on the spot. If it was wrong, he would check it. If it was right, he would give it a thumbs up, and people would know that's something good, and they would do it. Those things are what comprise the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And out of what the Prophet has brought to us, we want to focus on the prayer and supplication and the patience. Because as we know, the Prophet ﷺ said, the prayer is the weapon of the believer. That means as a believer, as a human being, you have everything else everybody else has. But then you have another layer on top they have no access to. And the prayer is both the ritual prayers, the 5 daily prayers, and the supplication to Allah for whatever you want out of good. And we see that Allah, among the things He obligated, He made the prayer the biggest of them all. Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, I heard the Prophet ﷺ say, Buni al-Islam ala khams, shahadati an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah, wa iqam as-salah wa ita'i az-zakah wa sawm Ramadan wa hajj al-bayt man istata'a ilayhi sabila. He said, I heard the Prophet say, this Islam has been built upon 5 pillars. He said those pillars are testifying, not only in word, but in action as well, that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah. And to establish the 5 daily prayers, to give the zakat or the poor tax once a year, to fast Ramadan when it comes around once a year, and to make pilgrimage to the house of Allah once in one's lifetime if you are able. Out of those things that he said Islam is built upon, the Shahada, once we say it one time, that's it. In our Salat, we repeat it every day, so we always renew our belief in the prayer. As far as Ramadan is concerned, a person can be not well. A woman can be pregnant or otherwise indisposed, and they're not supposed to fast. So they're excused from that. For the zakat or the poor tax, if a person is living hand to mouth through the whole year and doesn't have anything that they have saved up, then the zakat is not even due on them. Rather, they are due to receive zakat themselves because they fall in the category of being poor. The Hajj, in reality, if a person try their best and they're never able to go make Hajj the way that you should go, make sure you leave your people with what they need to live while you're gone. You take care of the bills and everything so that you don't come back and find your people on the street that's involved in it. So if you're never able to reach that level and make the Hajj, then you're excused from the Hajj as well. Because he made it conditional. Man istata'a ilayhi sabila. Whoever is able to do that. What's left is the prayer. For a sane Muslim man, he never be excused from the prayer until the spirit leave his body. If he's sick and he can't stand up, he should sit down. If he can't find the water, he can find clean dirt. It's everywhere. It's the earth. It's everywhere. He can pray anywhere that's clean. If it's dirty, let him clean it and then pray. If he can't sit down, he can lean and lay down and pray. If the person, and may Allah protect us from it, is paralyzed and they can't move their body, they can lay down and make the positions of the prayer with their arms and their hands. If they can't even move their arms and hands, they can make the positions with their head movements. If they can't do that, they can do it with their facial expressions. If they can't do that at all, they can make the prayer in their mind. And if the mind is not there, then Allah not talking to you anyway. He done talking to you. Because Allah, He's only speaking to one who has intellect. That's why the babies and the small children, they're excluded from that conversation until they reach the level of being responsible and they can be reasoned with. So the same male Muslim is never excused from the prayer. But why? Because the Prophet ﷺ said, As-salatu imaduddin. The pillars, yes, Islam is built upon them. But the imad is the pillar that, without the rest, it can hold up the building. It's the cornerstone. He said, as-salatu imaduddin. Man aqamaha faqad aqama din, or man hadamaha faqad hadama din. Whoever take this cornerstone and establish it firmly, then they establish the whole house. Somebody can come and kick out the other pillars, but the house is still standing firm. The people inside doing whatever they want to do, sleeping, waking up, the house is there. But if that cornerstone, if you destroy it or you don't make it firm, then the whole house falls down. Whoever destroy that cornerstone, they destroyed their religion. That's why we say the prayer is the most important of all of the pillars. And in the prayer itself, you can identify the other pillars. For Hajj, wherever we're at in the world, no matter where we travel, we can go to Finland, Puerto Rico. The first thing we're gonna do when we land, we're gonna find out where's the Qibla. It's almost time for Salat. So we always turn ourselves towards the house of Allah, wherever we are in the prayer. The zakat in the prayer, we have a saying here in this country, time is money. The time that you're using to make your money, you take that time and you stop everything and you go pray, that's the zakat in the salat. The fasting in the salat. Whenever you say Allahu Akbar until the end of salat, you'll never drink, eat, no matter how thirsty you are. You're going to finish praying before you do any of that. So in the salat, there's the sawm. And as I mentioned, in every salat, we're always renewing our faith by restating the statement of the shahad, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. So not only is salat the most important, but it encompasses all the other pillars in itself. And that's why it's able to stand alone. And as we said, as long as the spirit is in the body, we won't have an excuse to stop the salat. Because on another level, the salat is the link. It's the connection between the servant and his master. And in the salat is to be found the closest position between the servant and the master. He didn't say to go ascend on a high mountain and then you will find yourself closer to me. He didn't say, get in a rocket ship and come as close as you can, and then you're going to find yourself close to me. He said, wasjud waqtarib. He said, fall down in prostration and draw near to me. So the salat is everything to the believer. And in the beginning, we know when the Prophet ﷺ was given the gift to his community of the salat, it was something humongous that I can't fathom that we could ever have taken on that commitment. When Allah brought the Prophet ﷺ to his presence on the night journey, and he gave him the prayer for the Muslims. In the beginning, it was 50 prayers a day. And when the Prophet ﷺ was descending down from the highest, and he passed by Prophet Musa alayhi salam again, just out of chivalry, Prophet Musa asked him, so what was the command? What did Allah give you? What you get? And he said, I got the prayer 50 times. He said, no. He said, just go back. He said, your people will never be able to do 50 prayers a day. Go back. Go back to your Lord and ask him to reduce it. So, alhamdulillah, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his being, down to earth, he took that advice and he returned back to Allah, if you can imagine that, and asked for a reduction on behalf of his community, you. And Allah reduced it. And every time he reduced it by 5 prayers. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam going back and forth between Prophet Musa alayhi salam, the Prophet Musa said, no, go back, go back, go back. Until it was 5 prayers. The Prophet ﷺ coming down, Prophet Musa asked him again, So what is it now? He said 5 prayers. He said go back and ask for him. Ask for him to reduce it more. He said, I'm telling you, I work with these people. I work with the people of Israel. I've dealt with them. I dealt with people. I know them. They're not going to be able to handle it. And the Prophet said, I'm embarrassed to go back any further, to ask for any further, but I'm embarrassed. And so it stood. But Allah, anyway, he said in the Quran, Ma yubaddilu qawla ladayya. My statement that is with me, it'll never be changed. And elsewhere in the Quran, he said, Man ja'a bil hasanati falahu ashru amthaliha. So in the beginning, he said it's 50 prayers a day. But he reduces to 5. But then he gave us the guarantee in the Quran. He said, whoever come with one good deed, then Allah make it 10 deeds for them. So when we do what we've committed to do, and we pray the 5 prayers, then Allah make it for 50 for us like in the beginning anyway. And in other words, with that ayat, the Prophet ﷺ said, the real loser is the one whose ones in the end outnumber his 10s. Because Allah, He's made it hard for us to get a bad deed on the record. It's not easy. It's not enough to just conceive it or make the willful intention to do it. You actually have to go carry it out. It's not enough to tell somebody about it. A person have to go and do a bad deed, and then they get counted a bad deed on their record. But he said good deed, even if a person conceives it in their mind but doesn't carry it out, they get the one blessing from it. If they actually act on it, then Allah said, Man ja'a bil hasanati falahu ashru amthaliha. Whoever bring one good deed, Allah is going to multiply it 10. And that's just the minimum. So for sure, the one who ends up with his ones exceeding his 10, that person, you have to say and agree with the Prophet ﷺ, he's a loser. And may Allah protect us from ever being losers in this life or in the hereafter. So we should make sure we do our effort to establish firmly and observe the 5 daily prayers in their proper times. Because, especially being in this country, we know everything got a time to it. Everything is on the clock. If you get to work late, you know you're not going to get that 10 minutes on the paycheck. It's not going to be there. You get there a whole hour late, not only are you not going to get that hour paid, but you might get called up to the office on the spot. Ali, come let me speak to you. We know y'all Muslims get up early. Why are you coming here late? Why? It's been said. It's been said. So we, especially here, everything is on a time clock. We know about the importance of things being specifically on time. In Islam, if you look in the jurisprudence of Islam, the timings of the prayers is scientific. It's precise. The precision, especially coming from a time where there was no technology, it would amaze us if we study about it. So we know that we have to be precise with the timing of the prayers. We shouldn't create excuses for ourselves. We shouldn't say, I'm busy, got something to do downtown, I got to meet so-and-so. It's better that you meet Allah than you meet anybody else. Again, it's better that you reconcile with Allah than to reconcile with the people. And to put things off or to procrastinate is one of the most dangerous things in Islam, yet we find, I find myself doing it every day. And it's a constant struggle and a battle, and I hope nobody else is going through that. But the Prophet ﷺ, he warned us about it. It was said that Ali ibn Abi Talib narrated, he heard the Prophet ﷺ say, Inna akhfa ma akhafu alaykum ittiba'ul hawa wa tulul amal. فأما اتباع الهوى فيسد عن الحق وأما طول العمل فينسي الآخرة. He said, the thing that I fear most for you, surely, is following your own desires and things and entertaining long hopes, which is procrastinating in a nutshell. Because the person who entertains long hopes, somewhere in their mind they think they're going to be living for a long time, forever, and they'll put something off until tomorrow, when tomorrow is not guaranteed for nobody. We see on the news, we see the baby in the womb die. We see the man live to be 130 years old, die, and everybody in between get taken to the cemetery. So nobody is guaranteed anything, much less the hour or the minute. So to put off something when it hits your mind and your heart as an inspiration, that's procrastination. And the Prophet ﷺ said, this is one of the things that he feared most for us after he's gone. And as for following our own desires and things, instead of doing what Allah said do and stop where Allah said stop, and following the footsteps of the Prophet, we want to bend things to fit our own desire. He said, فَيَسُدُّ عَنِ الْحَقِّ. That by and by, it takes the person off the truth until, in the end, they don't have anything but their own desires that they follow. And in that is the biggest shirk, because the person had put themselves or their desires in the place of what Allah said. Who they're worshiping but themselves. And the Prophet ﷺ, he warned, Allah wa inna dunya kad irtahalat mudbiratan wa inna al-akhirata kad irtahalat muqbilatan wa likulli wahidatin minhuma banun fakunu min abna'i al-akhirati wa la takunu min abna'i dunya fa inna al-yawma amalun wa la hisab wa ghadan hisab wa la amal. And he said, ending the report, he said, this world, in reference to what he said before, continued, he said, this world, it's already packed its bags and is on the way out the door leaving. And he said, the afterlife, it's already packed up, everything it needs, and it has bags in hand, and it's on the way. It's coming. It's already on the way coming. And he said, for each one of them, they have their children or their people. He said, فَكُونُوا مِنْ أَبْنَاءِ الْآخِرَةِ وَلَا تَكُونُوا مِنْ أَبْنَاءِ الدُّنْيَا. He said, be among the people of the afterlife and don't be among the people of this world. And what does he mean? He doesn't mean for us not to strive to get the good things of this life. But he means don't put this life over the afterlife, because this life is a short thing. Even our elders here, they may attest for us that they can look back on a younger time and it seemed like it was right around the corner when they may have been here already 70, 80 years. But it seems like a flash when they look back. It wasn't a long time. I can remember like yesterday. That's what they say. So he said, this life is nothing. It's even been, the poets have said, they describe it, it's like people walking through the midst of a dream, and then when it's over, they wake up to reality. And then the Prophet ﷺ, he said, فَإِنَّ الْيَوْمَ عَمَلٌ وَلَا حِسَابٌ غَدًا حِسَابٌ وَلَا عَمَلٌ. He said, for verily, today is for work, and nobody's going to take account with you. But tomorrow, you won't have the chance to do any work. The smallest deed, a smile to your fellow Muslim, can't do none of that. It's not for action. That time, tomorrow, is for taking account with you. And the one who's taking account, he don't miss nothing. He see and hear everything. الحمد لله الذي أمرنا بالتقوى وابتغاء الوسيلة وحدنا على طلب الدرجة له والفضيلة. أمرنا أمرا بدأ فيه بنفسه وثنى بملائكة قدسه وثلث بالمؤمنين من جنه وإنسه. قال تعالى تشريفا لنبيه وتكريما إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. وروى عن أنس أنه صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من صلى علي صلاة واحدة صلى الله عليه بها عشرا. وفي رواية من صلى علي عشرا صلى الله عليه بها مئة ومن صلى علي مئة صلى الله عليه بها ألفا ومن صلى علي ألفا زاحمت كتفه كتفي على باب الجنة. And again, all praise belongs to Allah, who has commanded us to have taqwa in regards to Him. And He's commanded us to seek a means of access towards Him. And again, He is urging us along to achieve higher levels in Him and to get more virtue from Him by doing the obligations and doing the extra work as well. But He has commanded us with a command. If we look at all the obligations, it's different because it's a command that He commanded us, and He started to fulfill that Himself first. And then secondly, the angels. And then thirdly, the believers from amongst the jinn and the men. And that command is when Allah said to show you the true stature and nobility of His beloved, the Prophet. He said, Inna Allaha wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala nabi, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. He said, verily Allah and His angels, they send salutations upon the Prophet. O you who believe, do likewise and send salutations upon him. We see again that it's the only act of worship that Allah commanded us to do, and He's telling us He's doing it Himself and the angels. So right away we can see what kind of company we will put ourselves in if, together with the 5 prayers, in our free time we busy ourselves with sending salutation on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What kind of company does a person keep when he is in the company of Allah and His angels? And the salutation from us to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's only for our own sake. When Allah sends salutation to the Prophet, it indicates His mercy on him. When the salutation is from the angels to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it indicates they're seeking forgiveness for his community on our behalf. This is something that they do. And when it's from us to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's just for us to glorify him and to get the benefit from Allah for doing it and to get closer to Allah. It's like a person would take the best thing that they have, and if they're poor, it might not be much of anything, and they want to get something from a rich person. They may bring that thing as a gift, knowing that it's nothing to the rich person because they have everything that that person wants. But their purpose for bringing that gift is to get something else in return, something bigger than what they're bringing. That's our salutation on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it's reported that Anas, he said, he heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, whoever send one salutation upon me, then Allah will send 10 salutations upon that person. And then we'll stop right there. He continued on in the hadith, but there's no need to continue because none of us can truly measure or weigh one salutation from Allah directly on ourselves. In the end, he said, whoever send, 1,000 salutations upon me, then me and that person will enter shoulder to shoulder into paradise together. But one salutation from Allah on us is something that we can't comprehend. The minds don't have access to it. It's a divine concern that we just won't comprehend until we leave this place in Allah's presence and in receiving that blessing. Then for sure we would say, I didn't do all this. I did nothing to deserve any of this. And as we mentioned, the prayer being a weapon of the believer, we mean the supplication as well as the 5 daily prayers. And sending salutation upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is one of those supplications, because we don't have anything to offer to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in acknowledging that, we say, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Oh Allah, send salutation on the Prophet. We don't even have a salutation to send. We ask Allah to send it. And when we do that, one of the guarantees, Allah said, Huwa alladhi yusalli alaykum wa malaikatuhu liyukhrijakum min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. And we all have need of this every second of the day. He said, it is He who is the one who is sending salutations. and the angels. لِيُخْرِجُكُم مِّنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ, in order to remove you from the various forms of darkness that you encounter in your daily life. Every second you turn around, especially in this place. I'm in TV, and now we got it with us 24/7. You know, it's a blessing and a curse. We jacked in 24/7. And the darkness is mixed all up in there. And Allah is saying He's the one who sent the salutation, the reality, and the angels in order to remove you from the various darknesses and bring you into the light. And that light in reality is the spirituality of the Prophet. So we understand when we send salutation on the Prophet, Allah, He's taking us out of that darkness. So I don't know about any of you all. I know that me, I have need of that in every second. Even if I'm in my room with the light off, Shaitan, he don't stop. From the minute you awake to your conscious mind, he's there. Fajr, still dark outside. Just hit snooze, 5 minutes, it'll come back on. You get up. So from the time you awake, from the time you go to sleep, you have need of Allah removing you and protecting you from darkness. So the prayer, again, and the supplication is a weapon of the believer. And not only prayer and supplication, but patience. Because Allah said Himself, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salat inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. He said, oh, you believe, seek assistance. Get help, need help, get help, bis-sabri was-salat, with patience and prayer. For verily, Allah, He is with the patient. He's with the patient. He like this, He's with them. If you want Allah to be with you, then not only do we have to use the prayer and the supplication, but we have to be patient. And what do we mean by being patient? When we approach Allah and we need something, we should supplicate Him and be consistent in it without feeling despair, because the believer never feels despair from Allah. They should never feel unfulfilled. Man, I've been asking Allah for this for like a week straight. I ain't get nothing yet. No, that's not the way of a believer. And the believer should never be impatient in what they're seeking from Allah. Because whatever the believer pray for and ask for sure they're going to get it. It said that it was reported from the Prophet ﷺ that when a Muslim prays for anything from Allah, rather, on the condition that he's not prayed for breaking off relations from his relatives or near kin or for anything sinful, then for sure he definitely receives one out of the following three things. One, the supplicant will receive exactly what they ask for, even if it's to their detriment. So be careful what you ask for. If that thing is not received, then Allah either removes from that person, from their path, some great calamity in exchange for what they desired. Because the person could do something and the punishment is coming down the pipe. And then they could go ask Allah for something, and Allah in His mercy say, okay, I know in my foreknowledge that if I gave you this, but you get hit with this calamity that came from your own action, it's going to cancel out what you asked for anyway. You'll be right back where you started from. So He'll cancel something out that was coming down the pipe due to some action that we've done. And He said, thirdly, or the reward of that supplication or the thing that they asked for will be stored for that person in the hereafter, and they will find it with Allah there. All this provided that the supplication was not deficient from being heedless. I mean, you're asking Allah for something, how Allah needs it, and your favorite show come on, and you like watching the show until the commercial come on, and you go back. That's heedless. That's being heedless. You're not really focused on Allah. So I don't think that the person, when they look back on that, they will consider them having asked Allah for something, or error, or inconsistency, or anything else that would restrict the answer that they will receive from Allah, like eating haram food, or providing one's family for their living with ill-gotten gains. These are things that block a person's providence and their provision from reaching them. And again, the patience. Not just the patience of somebody, who's like, you might, tell your child, they say, I want such and such. Yeah, okay, wait until this time and I'll fix it for you. So they stand there and they do tap dance routine. They make faces, make all kind of sounds. They show you that they're not pleased to wait. But Allah said, "Fasbir sabran jamila." He said, be patient with a beautiful patience. That means to be calm. Know who you're asking from, and that he can do anything that he desire. And if he don't, nobody gonna ask him nothing, and he's gonna ask everybody about everything. So just be patient, and be patient with a beautiful patience. And he said elsewhere, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ الَّذِينَ يَظُنُّونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُلَاقُو رَبِّهِمْ وَأَنَّهُمْ إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. And he said, seek help with patience and prayer. And then he acknowledged something. وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ. And he said, verily it is a hard thing. It's not easy. It's not easy. Allah, he knows us, he created us, he knows what's inside. So he acknowledged, it's not going to be easy. Illa al-khashi'ina. Then he made it a condition. He said it's not going to be easy, except for those who are humble or who have due humility concerning their Creator. How could you fix yourself in your mind to have anything else but the most beautiful patience when you're dealing with Allah, who created you, who sustained you for every breath from when you were born to now? He saw that you were fed. He saw that you were here living. He woke you up out of your small death when you were asleep. And then you would have impatience towards him for something you asked. It doesn't, that, how could I say, it's not meat for us to have that type of feeling in our heart towards Allah. So he said, it'll be a big thing, except for those who are humble. For those who are humble, they'll find it easy to have a beautiful patience with Allah. So, whatever we need in this life and in the hereafter, we have everything Allah has given us, our physicality, the things we have in this life, and then we have that extra layer that belongs to a believer that other people don't have. And we should always approach Allah for that, using that for what we need: prayer, supplication, and patience. وعليكم بالإكثار من الصلاة على النبي الشكرا تجدوا ذلك عند الله هو أعظم أجرا. And we should take it upon ourselves to busy ourselves with sending salutation on the Prophet. And the best of that is that we will do it with the intention of just being thankful towards Allah for the blessing of Islam. For sure, if we did that, we will find a reward with Allah, and Allah, He is the greatest in paying and rewarding. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, abdika wa nabiyyika wa rasulika nabiyyul ummi. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad, kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. Oh Allah, help us. Provide us with your help and your victory against those who would see Islam be brought down, and destroy those who fight with everything to bring down Islam and to harm the believers. Oh Allah, destroy those who would seek to destroy Islam and harm the believers. Oh Allah, disperse the enemies of Islam. and write for us in our records peace and safety from the terror of the day of judgment and of the punishment of the hellfire. And save us in this life from any calamity, from any widespread harm that may fall down on His creation due to their bad deeds or lives. Protect us from that in their midst. And clean or free our towns and cities from the evils that we see, especially in the lands of the Muslims. And forgive us all and our parents and our leaders, the imams and the teachers, and all of those who have preceded us in faith. And to the believers, the believers, men and women, the Muslims, men and women, those who have passed away and those who are still living. Oh Allah, make this ummah happy with the blessing that you've given them. Oh Allah, lift up from us hardship, hunger, and poverty, and protect us from all other ills that we know of and we don't know of. Oh Allah, give us in this world the good and give us the good of the hereafter as well, and protect us from the fire. And lastly, O servants of Allah, Allah has said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْمُرُ بِالْعَدْلِ وَالْإِحْسَانِ وَإِيتَاءِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ وَالْبَغْيِ يَعِظُكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. So verily, Allah, He is commanded towards justice and excellence in the giving of assistance and aid to your most closest of kin, family and believers. And He is commanding us away from bad deeds and evil actions and ugly behavior. And He is the one who is counseling us thusly so that we may be among those who reflect. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي للصلاة حي للفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Make sure you straighten the lines, please. If you can, move your line up to make room.